We watched.
There's a small dog tapping about.
Yep. Ollie, come here.
Pet your dog.
Blanket. Now, I have been looking for this for fucking ages. It came up randomly in my thing on YouTube as an advert, like trailer for this, and I already knew about the story of Abhartach and stuff like that. So like, holy fuck, they're making a story film about Abhartach. And then somehow this thing was made and it was released to streaming in America and everything before it hit the cinema here. And finally it came out in DVD in America before it hit the cinema here. But I got the American DVD, so I'm happy about that.
The small dog is got her tweet toy and trying to break its neck. Come here.
Ollie.
I didn't know you were filming. Oh no, she's filming.
Ollie's fucking bad. Come here.
Does she want to go out?
No, she's just being rude. Come here.
Anyway.
So.
Anyway, the Abhartach is one of the myths that is thought to have inspired Bram Stoker's Dracula because, you know, he didn't actually base it on Vlad the Impaler, he based it on a couple of different things, and, you know, Bram Stoker being Irish, Abhartach being Irish, the Irish vampire, and they get the mythology pretty accurate. Basically, he's buried underneath stones, but in the real life, quote unquote, you know, alleged grave, it's a big dolmen, which is one of the giant Irish stone formations. So the stones are fucking giant, heavier than a car. And on this one, it's like a cairn, which is not the sort of thing that lasts for thousands of years, because the earliest versions of the story are Celtic. But anyway, the trailer makes it look just very, very silly. It's sort of like Grabbers, which was, you know, like the Irish Tremors.
Yeah, the trailer I thought it looked very like Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, there's a sort of tongue-in-cheek. This one, it's much more serious than the trailer indicates.
Yeah, like I was expecting like slapstick comedy, but it was like I would say dark comedy.
Yeah.
It's really nice to see like a film set in Ireland in any way, shape or form that doesn't take the piss out of the culture.
Yeah.
It's like
It's not doodly doodly doo.
these people speak like Northern Irish farmers.
This is the most realistic Northern Irish dialogue I've seen in a film, except for like Battle of the Bone. But Battle of the Bone had shit Northern Irish dialogue.
Yeah.
It was just shit dialogue, very Northern Irish. While this is proper film dialogue, very Northern Irish. It's as though the script was written, and then the actors were given a certain amount of leeway in how they would re-say the dialogue to get to its maximum authenticity.
Or the script writers were Northern Irish.
I believe the guy was, but it's. I wouldn't.
What if he was from Belfast?
I wouldn't be surprised if the actors were allowed to sort of work around it as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And there was a lot of like a thing that I like in films where like everybody talks at once, because I've noticed that in a lot of stuff, like everyone like takes turns talking, and that's not how anything ever works in real life. Everybody talks over each other all the time.
I don't know. We pretty much take turns in this.
Yeah, but like we're doing this on purpose. It's not like, you know how like in a play or like in a movie or like in a TV show, it's basically like people don't talk over each other. When if you're having a conversation, there's always people talking, especially if there's something chaotic happening. It's not like, oh no, yes, I thought so too, but will it work? Yes, and people would be like, you know, screaming at each other. That's what I think.
I think Robert Altman pioneered that thing for filmmaking back in the 70s. Anyway, in this, basically, Abhartach is buried in a field, which he is if he existed. You know, there's a place where it's meant to be, and they're going to build a road through it, and so they're going to have to tear it down. But unfortunately, he is buried underneath there, and he's a vampire and shit. And if you get turned into a vampire, if you're cut by one of the stones from his grave, which I do not believe is actually in the myth. That's just for the film, which is like fair enough. And so it gets knocked over, and people get cut by the stones, and so there's vampires happening, and these vampires cannot be fucking killed because Irish vampires are like that. You know, Chinese vampires hop, Irish ones are immortal.
That was the least believable part of the film to me, by the way, was that they were going to build a road through the historic cairn. Like,
they were going to build a road at all.
This is Ireland. You can't walk 10 feet in any direction without happening across something historic, but at the same time, if it was like Abhartach or Cuchulainn or Finn McCool related to a site, it would definitely be on a protected list.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that true of that field where Amelia Earhart touched down?
There's a field, yeah.
Yeah, that's like important. There's gonna be something about her soon. I saw it. The Derry Journal was tweeting about it anyway.
But I thought the most unrealistic part of this was the fact that the local town was making hay out of Abhartach, because we are, as a people, the Northern Irish, are terrible at advertising themselves unless it's to do with the Troubles or Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe they're like really close to the border with Donegal, so like they don't get the dairy tourism and they don't get like any of the wild Atlantic coast tourism.
I mean, you got like, okay, Abhartach. He's not even famous in Ireland. I mean, I only heard about him like 2 years ago. Derry Halloween did a thing about him, and I looked him up. I was like, holy shit, this is cool. And then, like, you mentioned Amelia Earhart. She landed her transatlantic flight. She was meant to land in Paris. She accidentally landed in a field outside Derry. But does Derry make a big deal out of it? No.
And they could, because she's totally, completely free celebrity.
Yeah.
Like, there's no sectarian involvement whatsoever.
Yeah. She's got a...
Although the people that made the Quiet Man whiskey,
Mm-hmm.
they have an Amelia Earhart gin now. I saw an ad before
good.
I was down the town yesterday.
Like, so, okay, so she has that, and, like, the lounge in the local airport's named after her. She should have a statue. There should be plaques and stuff.
You have completely forgotten about the third part of tourism in Northern Ireland. Mm-hmm. The ship that sank.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other part.
That's
of
only in
That's
that
over
small part of Belfast, though.
The Titanic water is actually sinking. It's kind of funny. I mean, it's not, but it is.
Reclaimed land sinking back into the sea.
Pretty much.
And with this, they got to deal with the vampires, and it's a crazy night, and
Madcap hilarious. Actually, really not a surprising amount of very poignant deaths of people that you don't know very well happens.
yeah, it's much
like-
less silly than you'd expect.
But no, like, you know how like there's always just random people just dying in horror films. I felt like the people who weren't important to the plot, who like died, like at least had like pretty poignant deaths.
Yeah. Like the actor-wise, lots of
So let's see.
lots of local Irish ones. The most famous is probably Louisa Harland. She's she plays Orla in Derry Girls, and once again pulling out her Northern Irish accent, even though she's not Northern Irish, she's from the south. And you've got the beardy, long-haired guy on the back there.
What was he in? Because I recognize him as well.
He was in the. You can't see it on the tall. This
can't.
is way too small.
Look, Google it, guys. You can.
He was. He played Bridgens in The Terror.
Yeah, but I've seen him in something recently.
Possibly. And the guy who plays the local PSNI guy. He's been in a bunch of things over the years, and he looks like the human equivalent of a Tunnocks tea cake.
He's the most accurate PSNI portrayal I've
Yeah.
ever seen. Listen, I'm going to plant drugs in you and put you down to the courts. Just pure PSNI there.
You should have rung 999 first.
Yeah, I've seen him in a bunch
Don't
of
think
stuff.
about
He is prime, Irish. Hey, it's that guy.
Yeah. Well, but it was good. It's good.
It was good, it was competently made.
But it had fake Canadians. In the beginning, there's these two Canadian tourists. And they're like, oh, they're Germans. And she's like, no, look, see the maple leaves in their jackets, they're Canadians. But they didn't have Canadian accents, and I can tell. Plus, they didn't have Canadian attitudes. They acted like big American Karens. So we figured that they were probably just two Americans who live in the town where this was filmed. They were like, hey, you can play Canadians, right? These are both the same. Just go.
I would assume that they were actually Americans pretending to be Canadians, because whenever America is not too popular internationally, that's the usual thing. Americans, because the rest of us can't tell your accents apart.
I
can assume you're
try.
Canadian.
This is what Doyless versus Watsonian. You see, my headcanon is that they're actually two American tourists who happened to go to Canada first and bought a nice coat there.
That was like that one time I was working at the bookshop, and these two wheeled ladies came over to me, and they're like, oh, hello. And I was like, oh, hey, what's up? They're like, we're from Wisconsin. That's a state in America. I was like, right. And they didn't, like Americans, did not give me a chance to say anything. Here's a pin that's the shape of our state. We're giving it to all the Irish people that we meet. And I'm like, I said, and I didn't know what to say, so I was so taken aback, and I was so awkward. I was like, I'm from Philadelphia, though. But, if you go to one of the other members of staff, they're all natives. So when they're like, okay, bye. And I was like, okay, bye. It was so upsettingly awkward for everyone involved. I think, like,
oh no, and Americans saw how annoying Americans are to tourists. Oh,
we are. I actually have become less annoying in the years that I've lived here. Because, well, no, alright, so once I was at the psychology conference in Amsterdam, And it was an okay conference. But the thing is that another person from my PhD cohort was going to a different conference the week after that. And so she and her husband decided, oh, well, we'll come for the weekend and then, have a nice weekend in Amsterdam. Then he'll fly home and I'll go to the conference. And so they were like, hey, do you want to meet up? It was Friday, the conference just ended. I was like, yeah, this is grand. And so they're like, oh, we're in this Irish pub. This Irish pub in Amsterdam, which was full of English people because the World Cup match had just been on. And so I came and I was like, oh my gosh, and we hugged and everything. And the guy was like, oh, can I get you a pint? I was like, oh, yeah, thanks, Tom. And I said, this is going to sound so strange coming out of me, but it's so nice to be around other Irish people again. And they were like, what do you mean? Because most of the people who came to this conference were American. But holy fuck, we never shut up. Oh my God, stop talking. Everybody around me was constantly narrating their own lives out loud and just talking constantly, even you don't need to be talking. And I was just shocked. I was shocked. And even in shops, who's making a lot of noise? Americans. Who was walking the wrong way? Americans. Who was like kicking off with some, poor restaurant owner in Amsterdam because they wanted their big double wide SUV pram right in the center of the room? It was Americans. So those were not Canadians. I know we tangented a bit, but they were false Canadians.
You've gone native.
I have. I really have. It's going to be really difficult. We're going back for Christmas, and I don't know if I can deal with all the talking.
You just got to do the old farmer voice. Shut the fuck up now.
I'm not saying that to anybody in my family because they would look at me so hurt.
They're already confused by your accent.
They are. Everyone talks about my thick Irish accent, but, I don't have one. I just have a very strange Frankenstein version of Delaware County and,
County Delaware.
Yeah, and Derry.
County Delco.
Jesus Christ.
County London, Delaware.
Yes! Yes! It's even better. Well, because there's a few... My mom's uncle, he married a woman who's Episcopalian. And so then their kids and grandkids are Episcopalian. So I can, if I see them at Christmas, I can adapt it for them. Because they're not Catholic, the rest of the family.
Anyway.
But yeah.
This was a fun film. I believe it's on Shudder in America, which is basically like horror Netflix, which I don't think is released over here.
There was nothing bad about it.
It was really good. It was really well shot. It was obvious that money and talent went into it. It was not like the shitty movies we usually watch. It was the official selection of the 2020 Tribeca Film Festival, and the official selection of something I've never heard of.
Yeah, the Northern Irish films don't tend to have that level of budget and competence at once.
Oh, wait, I think I know why the construction place was called Moffat's Contracts. The film company is Moffat and Son Films Limited.
Yeah. And one thing I did love is that there was the aggressive lack of Irish music in the soundtrack. Because I fucking hate it when a film is set somewhere and
There's a lot of Irish music in the soundtrack, just not.
It wasn't.
trad.
It was.
Not
Yeah, it
trad,
wasn't
so
like.
that's what I mean. It's like 99% of the time when you have a film, even if it's just a scene set in Ireland, they will put Irish traditional music over the soundtrack, and it's really fucking annoying. I hate this. No matter where we're set in the world, it's like do something different.
A lot of the time they do Scottish traditional music and just don't realise that there's actually a difference.
Yeah, so I was really glad that most of the soundtrack to this seems to be like 1950s rock music.
There was but there was some country too.
Yeah, it was.
Some Diesel.
It's so weird because I associate country music with, God, guns, and country. I lost my new truck and I lost my dog and I lost my girl, but at least I got Jesus and my Remington Steel. That kind of American country. But country is super huge here and it blows my mind. Because I'm like, you guys don't have any guns. And you don't like America. Okay, there's the Jesus thing, but it's just so weird.
Do you think it's the same kind of people that like country, though?
Yeah.
If they had access to guns, they would be all gods and guns.
That's true.
Yeah.
These colors don't run. But these colors are often flipped upside down. People
We
think.
talk about our colours too. Our colours are old, but they were beautiful. And the colours, they were fine.
But sometimes they're hung upside down. And that's the Ivory Coast.
Different colours.
Anyway, fun film.
Go watch it.
Found if you're in the States. If you're over here, you can import a copy like I did,
It's
or
really bizarre that it's shot here by people from here and we can't watch it here.
it was on the cinema for like a week after it got released, or either after it was streamed in America or after it was actually out on DVD in America. Yeah, it was fucking really
Do you
annoying.
think it was a COVID thing?
No, it's just because we don't get Northern Ireland gets shat on when it comes to film releases generally.
Yeah,
Although we didn't get that.
that.
What was it? The Foreigner, the one with Jackie Chan.
That was fucking great.
Pierce Brosnan as Jerry Adams, but that wasn't shot here. What they just didn't they do like some establishing shots?
It wasn't even set here either. It was set
Set
in
in
London.
London, set in England mostly.
Yeah, but there was the part outside of Belfast where he tracks him too. That part was in the north.
Could well be.
It
It's been
was
years
well
since I
be.
saw it.
It was like 2 years ago.
I can't remember. I've watched a lot of films.
That was
Because-
the definition of years, 2 years.
Yeah, well, okay. In COVID times, that's 4.37 years. But
Anyway, also fun, the legend of Abhartach, and seems to be set in the right place, although there is no small town right next to the grave in quote unquote real life.
there's no 6 Mile Hill in the place they said it was.
Yeah, but it's County Derry / Londonderry, so that is closest to the homeland.
You looked at me like expectantly, like
No,
I
I
should
was I
genuflect
feel
or
like
something.
because Derry.
Aye.
Used to be County Coleraine before them interfering bastards changed it.
No one likes Coleraine.
Yeah.
Like, there's some good chippies there, I guess, and then the uni's there, but like, it's so hard to get there. Like, if Coleraine was closer to like the rest of the world, I think people would look more fondly on it. But you have to drive through cows and sheep and the Valley of Horror, where all those big wind turbines are.
And Coleraine, even its name is surreally terrifying. Because you go there, it's like the rain of coal. It's so disgusting. And
That's
full
why we
of-
all call it the triangle.
Why
We
call
go
it
up to the
triangle?
triangle. Port Rush, Port Stewart and Coleraine form a triangle.
See, Port Rush is fine because it's got like a fun fair.
Not anymore, it closed.
Okay, they don't even have a fun fair.
Barry's closed.
They got the sea.
Barry's closed, but it's
Yeah.
going to be under new management.
Oh, okay.
They got the sea.
I've never even been, and just because of Reddit, I know about this place.
And there's a Giant's Causeway nearby, but Coleraine is like.
As a Northern Irish Protestant, I'm offended by anybody slagging off the triangle. It's our one holiday spot.
Well, you can holiday. Well, yeah, but there's also that Baptist born again guy, the dentist and his mistress killed those folks up there.
That took a turn.
Well, they did. Because there was a book that this guy from Derry wrote. Like, he did all this investigative journalism. This is a real case, by the way. This is dentist and his mistress collaborated and killed each other's spouses. And he wrote a book about it, and the book got turned into, I think it was an ITV or Sky series called The Secret. So basically his book was republished in a hurry with a new cover and called The Secret because that's what the documentary was called. So for a while, when anyone came into the bookshop, because we're kind of local to it, everyone was like, "You have that book, The Secret?" And I had to say, "Oh, do you mean the self-help one, or do you mean the one about the murder?" And then a lot of people who were looking for the self-help one went home with the one about the murder anyway.
Well, they clearly were. The self-help secret thing is like you ask the universe or something. So clearly,
Yeah, it's like the
they asked
law
for
of
a better
attraction.
book called The Secret.
Like, if you concentrate really hard, your eyes will change color, and that's not true.
I know.
Can I
So
ask how many people actually just go up to you and be like, "Do you have the secret?"
our point is that clearly it works, and what they did was the universe gave them a better thing called The Secret.
Yeah. I bought a copy to read when I was visiting my parents once. And my parents they read mostly like murder mystery like fiction, but sometimes they'll read true crime. My dad's like, "What book is that?" I was like, "Oh, it's this here. You know what? I said I'll leave it." And he's like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, because I'm almost done it." And then so he read it, and then he gave it to the Westchester, Pennsylvania library. He donated it when they moved, so there's a copy of that.
Anyway, but I noticed the image here is this basically it's almost like a Renaissance painting, or it looks like it's very cinematic, shot.
Oh, my leg.
Oh, she's like claimed. Yeah, the if one of us leaves the room, the dog goes after. Like, why have you left the herd? Is there some kind of problem I need to be made aware of?
Where are you going? How now, spirit, whither wander thee?
Anyway,
Chill.
Boys from County Hill.
Yeah, reasonably good.
Really good. Go see it. I mean, go. You know what to do. To do the thing.
Stream it.
If you have Shudder, you can watch it right now, probably.